every freaking time. Hi, my name is Courtney, and I'm really passionate about helping women with invisible illnesses realize that you can still lead a pretty healthy and active lifestyle. It's just not going to be the one that you had envisioned for yourself, but the time is going to pass regardless. And it's up to you to make the best of your situation. I got to tell you, I had no intention at all of talking about smoking today, but I went to the chiropractor this morning. And I got to tell y'all, it was so hard for me to see. It was hard because I felt so bad for this lady. This older couple walked in and she had the oxygen in her nose in the little tank. And just walking in, it's not a big parking lot, there's a private practice. It's just a father and a son in practice together. It's not a huge building. She could not have walked very far. She was completely winded. And she sat down near me, not next to me, thank God, which I know that sounds hateful, but y'all, she reeked so horribly of tobacco smoke. I was shocked. I was truly shocked because again, just that short walk, she was wheezing so hard. She got the oxygen tank, which that stuff's really flammable. How on earth are you smoking when you've got oxygen in your house? But she smelled so strongly that it started giving me a headache. Right. Instantly when she sat down. Well, then her husband came in. Now, he didn't have the oxygen tank, but he's a heavy smoker too. And between the two of them, I was almost instantly, I was so nauseous. I remember sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, my nausea meds are at home. That's a 23-minute drive from here, and I haven't even seen the damn doctor yet. I wasn't sure I was going to make it. And he was in such dire straits. He is just hacking up lung cookies, and he keeps getting his asthma inhaler out and sucking them. And he must have done it 4 or 5 times in just the few minutes that they were sitting there with me. The smell was just horrendous. It was just horrendous. But it was so sad for me to sit there and watch this because I used to smoke. I smoked for a long time. And I was a pretty heavy smoker. I was a pack a day plus. If I was stressed, it was plus. But it was a pack a day, pretty much minimal. And I understand quitting is hard. Believe me, quitting is harder than hell. But it's doable. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I smoked for probably about 18 years. And it was kind of sad because I'd smoked for a long time, then I quit for a few years, then I started again because, addictions are not easy to combat. But I quit for good I think in 2010. It seems like it was longer than that. Anyway, at any rate, I quit for good quite some time ago. And there's no looking back for me. None. I have no interest in it at all. And especially seeing that today, it made me so sad for both of them because they're the obvious health implications. You couldn't possibly deny it. For God's sake, she's on oxygen. And yet the addiction was still stronger than they are. And that's just, there, but for the grace of God, go I. Anyway, so here's some tips on how to quit from a former smoker. First of all, and here's the catch, the smoker has to want it. They have to want it. I have a friend at home. She's a lovely lady. She is just really an amazing woman. I think so highly of her. She's a very heavy smoker, and she got COPD several years ago. And she hadn't quit. And a mutual friend came to me one day and was very upset with me. You need to go tell her to quit. I said, no, I don't. No, I don't. That is not my role as her friend. Well, how can you say that? Your role as her friend is to tell her. I said, no, I guarantee you, I promise. She's had this conversation with all of her doctors. Guaranteed. She knows. She's an educated woman. She's intelligent. She's not stupid. She's well aware. I said, you don't understand addiction. I understand addiction. My responsibility as her friend is to be there for her and to support her and tell her that I love her, because I do love her no matter what she does. Do I wish she would quit? Absolutely. Does she need me to nag her? Absolutely not. Here's the thing. According to the CDC, nicotine is the most commonly abused chemical substance in the US. It causes the most, well, I didn't say that right. It's the most common chemical dependency. In 94, the New York Times did an article, and they said that they talked to heavy cocaine users, and they asked heavy cocaine users to compare the urge to use cocaine or to smoke. 45% said the urge to smoke was as strong or stronger than the urge to use cocaine. With alcoholics, it was 50%. That is crazy. People don't, you hear about nicotine being addictive, but I don't think most people understand how severely addictive it is. And, it's easy to avoid cocaine, but, well, nowadays it's a lot easier to avoid cigarettes. But, back in the day, it wasn't easy to avoid cigarettes. Everybody used to smoke. Hell, I'm old enough to remember when they used to smoke on airplanes. Hell, I've smoked on airplanes. What y'all need to know, and I'm not going to tell you need to understand it, because I don't think you can if you haven't been in good grief, in an addictive situation before. But the health risks, they're irrelevant. They're completely irrelevant. It's an addiction. Most smokers completely understand the risk. I guarantee you that couple has had numerous conversations with doctors about their smoking. Guaranteed. Probably have had those conversations for a very long time now. But the addiction is greater than the fear of poor health. The addiction, and when you're younger and smoking, and you haven't destroyed your health yet, you say, oh, that's not going to happen to me. Yeah, well, I got really freaking lucky. I got very lucky. So how do you quit? If it's this hard, how do you quit? Well, the desire has to be incredibly strong. Your desire to quit's got to be greater than your addiction. It's both that simple and that complicated. Now, WebMD suggests, and I agree with these or we wouldn't be discussing it. I didn't quite go about it this way. It wasn't quite as methodical, but I really like what this has to say. And I agree with, I did use a lot of these things. WebMD suggests that you find your why. Like for that lady that I saw today, that couple that I saw today, they would have to really dig down deep and find their emotional why. And obviously, it's killing me is not strong enough for them. God, that's so sad. I mean, that's so sad. But your why, your reason to quit has to be stronger than your urge to smoke. And when you're an addict, that's really difficult to find that. You need to prepare. And I did do this. You need to select your quit date. Excuse me, the second time that I started smoking, the first time I quit smoking, the second time I started smoking, that didn't come out right. The first time I quit smoking, sorry, y'all, I'm tired. Anyway, I used medication. The second time I quit cold turkey. Both times I had a quit date. The second time I quit date, I had a really, really difficult boss at the time. Oh my gosh. I want to say something negative, but I won't, because I just had a very difficult boss. I'll leave it at that. So that was my quit date. I was going to smoke up until the last day that I had to work for her, and I was going to quit the next day. And I did. You need to line up support. You need to tell your friends, you need to tell your loved ones, hey, I'm going to quit. This is my quit date. And make sure they know, don't give me any crap up until my quit date. Don't say a word. And if you're the one that's supporting the smoker, don't give them any crap at all up until their quit date. Once the quit date's on, yeah, you can call them out. But up until that quit date, keep your damn mouth shut, because they're working on it. It takes a lot of mental preparation. If you're trying to quit, consider nicotine replacements. Now, I personally did not do this either time, but there's patches, there's gums, there's lozenges. Talk to a doctor. Maybe try some medication. Again, I did that the first time I quit, but do your research. The side effects can include depression and suicidal thoughts. You don't need to have depression and suicidal thoughts when you're trying to break an addiction. You need to lean on your loved ones. You need to tell your friends and family your quit date. Now, I know people who don't smoke don't understand this aspect at all, but when you're a smoker, even though nicotine is a stimulant, you find smoking really relaxing. So you're going to have to find alternatives, exercise, meditation, acupuncture, something. You need to avoid your triggers. For me, it was, and this is so disgusting, it was driving. I used to always have a cigarette in my hand if I was driving down the damn road. And it was hard. That was the hardest thing for me. But coffee was another big one. Booze, those were all triggers for me. I had to be really aware of what my triggers were. Now, the booze was easy to avoid. The coffee, that wasn't so easy to avoid because I really liked coffee at that point in my life. Driving, that was challenging. I had to keep hard candy around. So every time I get in the car, I put a piece of hard candy in my mouth. Clean your house. Get rid of all your ashtrays. Clean your walls, move your pictures and clean your walls. If you've smoked in your house, especially if you've smoked in your house for very long, you're going to be so grossed out and horrified when you move your pictures and realize how much nicotine has built up on your walls. And think about what that's doing to your body. If that's what your damn walls look like, get moving. Get moving. I'm not saying you got to go out and exercise, although that's always going to be my recommendation because exercise just makes you happy. But stay busy, keep moving. Being active is going to help curb those cravings. Do not go on a diet. Do not diet when you're quitting, but try to eat more fruits and vegetables because it's going to help fill you up, which will help offset the weight gain. And you know what? Be prepared. You're probably going to gain some weight. But you know what? That weight's going to be a lot better for you and a lot easier to deal with than a nicotine addiction. Choose a reward. I took my cigarette money and set it aside and I bought myself a really nice set of cooking knives. I know someone who took their money and set it aside and ended up, he took him, and this was, gosh, I was so young when this happened. I still smoked back when they did this, but they went to Hawaii. They flew from Alaska to Hawaii, took a really nice vacation. Now, granted, he saved his money for quite a while, but find a reward. Put your cigarette, you're going to spend that money anyway. So put it aside and go do something really nice for yourself, because as you watch that money stockpile grow, first of all, when you watch that money stockpile grow, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I was throwing all this damn money away on cigarettes. But it's going to also, for me at least, it was really exciting. Like, oh, I'm going to get to go and do this. And because at that point in my life, I would have never spent the kind of money I spent on a knife set. So choose your reward. You need to know you're probably going to fail. Most people try to quit more than once. What's the old saying? If at first you don't succeed, try again. Just keep at it. If you want it bad enough, you'll find a way to make it happen. Now, if you're a smoker and you're listening to this and you're thinking, up yours, lady, you can think that all you want, but you know, gosh damn well, deep down in your heart, you know I'm right. You know I'm right. And you know, if you don't want it, if you really don't want to quit, then don't. Don't let anybody pressure you into it. It's your life. If you choose to commit slow suicide, that's your choice. And honestly, I thought this couple was really sad, but do I think less of them as human beings? No. But I also understand addiction better than most people. But you need to understand, if you're quitting, that this is a process and it's going to be hard. And there's going to be days you're like, why in the F am I even trying to do this? This is just, it's hard and I hate the world and this sucks, and it does suck and it is hard and you are going to hate the world. But all that'll pass. All that is going to pass. In fact, I heard from somebody today on social media. I believe he said he'd been smoking for like 40 years and he quit a month and a half ago. And, you know, that's a significant achievement. Hell, even if you've only smoked for a few years, 90 days without a cigarette. Is that 90? That's not 90 days. That's 45 days. Whoops. Math is never my strong suit, obviously. Now I'm embarrassed. But 45 days is really significant. And I told him, you know what, in my experience, that first month, that's the biggest hurdle. And for me, the first year, what kept me from smoking again was the thought of, I never want to have to go through that first month again in my entire life. But you know, you got to understand that it's a process. You have to be kind to yourself because you are going to think all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's okay. It is okay. You're combating something that a lot of people never managed to conquer. And when you slay that dragon, you got a hell of a lot to be proud of. I mean, you know what's really cool? Even for heavy smokers, after the first day without smoking, the carbon monoxide levels in your blood drop to normal after just one day. I think that's so cool. After 2 to 3 weeks, your risk of a heart attack decreases. Now, do I still face health issues as I age because of my smoking? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's all going to be sunshine and roses. But you know what my odds are compared to what they were if I'd have stayed smoking? It's really funny too when I every once in a while, because I don't think about it. I've been tobacco free for so long now. I very rarely think about it, but every once in a while it'll just hit me like, gosh, damn, I used to be a heavy smoker, and it's just so far apart from where I am now. I have very little in common with that aspect of my personality anymore. Anyway, that's all I have for today. I don't know. It just really touched my heart seeing them. It made me really sad. It did make me very sad for both of them. And I'll admit, I felt really bad that the smell bothered me so much. It really did. I'm really surprised I didn't get sick in there. It was bad, but I really hope that they managed to find the strength. I'd be honest, I don't expect it at this point in their lives, but I still hope they do. Anyway. Yeah, I usually talk about fun stuff on Friday. That was not fun, but I hope y'all have a great weekend. Look, I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor, but I'm someone who had a heavy smoking habit for quite some time. So if you're trying to quit and you're struggling, drop me a line. I can't do it for you, but I can be there to support you. And I can tell you that you're doing a really good job, because every day that you make it tobacco free, that's a big win, and you need to celebrate that. Anyway, I'm getting off my soapbox. I hope y'all have a great weekend. I will be back. I had to think of, yes, it is Friday. It's been a day, y'all. I will be back Monday at